Then mid-sentence, phone started buzzing around the restaurant. Someone gasped. My mother, sitting next to him, grabbed her phone and her face went white. My father frowned. "What's going on?" I leaned back in my chair and smiled. "Check your phone, Dad." He did, and his entire face changed. The billboard had gone live early, my face towering over his office. The hashtag #daughter of the CEO was already trending. What's the most satisfying comeback you've ever had? Comment "comeback King Queen" and share your story. We need some victory moments in this comment section right now. Crown. He slammed his phone on the table. Silverware rattled. People turned to stare. "Did you do this to humiliate me?" His voice was low, dangerous. I didn't flinch. I met his eyes and said, "No, Dad, I did it to remind you what success actually looks like." The table went silent. My mother looked like she might cry. My father's jaw clenched, but he couldn't say anything, because everyone around us had their phones out. They were seeing it too, the billboard, the hashtag. The article being shared thousands of times. He'd wanted to make peace to control the narrative, to look like the good guy, but I'd already written the ending and it wasn't his to control anymore. I stood up, dropped cash on the table for my untouched meal and walked out. I didn't look back. Outside, my billboard glowed against the evening sky. Bright, bold, unshakable. Tag someone who needs to see this right now. Someone still sitting at that toxic dinner table. Share this story. Let them know they can rise too. Use that share button. Mobile phone with arrow. The internet went absolutely insane. Within hours, the hashtag had millions of views. People connected the dots, the anonymous article from months ago, the CEO scandal, the daughter who'd risen from nothing. Journalists reached out for interviews, brands wanted collaborations. My page gained 50,000 followers overnight. I couldn't keep up. It was overwhelming, but also validating. People weren't just supporting my art, they were supporting my story. My survival. Comments flooded in. "You're my hero. I needed to see this. Thank you for not staying silent." Meanwhile, my father's world was collapsing. His company page was a war zone. Employees started quitting publicly. Clients released statements distancing themselves, and the man who once controlled every room he walked into was now powerless. For the first time in his life, he couldn't fix it because I'd made sure of it. Screenshot this story and post it to your Instagram story with Rise Without Permission and tag 3 friends who inspire you. Let's make this movement bigger. Drop posted when you do it. He tried to fight again. Of course he did. Men like him don't go down quietly. He hired a crisis management team, attempted a counter-narrative, claimed I was lying, that the emails were fabricated, but the damage was done. People didn't believe him anymore. His credibility was gone. More employees came forward. Former interns shared stories of verbal abuse. Partners admitted he'd taken credit for their ideas too. It wasn't just about me anymore. I'd opened a door. And an entire flood of truth came pouring through. His empire wasn't just crumbling, it was being exposed for what it always was, a facade, built on exploitation and ego. I watched it all unfold from my tiny apartment, and I felt something unexpected, not joy, not satisfaction, just emptiness. I'd won, but it didn't feel the way I thought it would. Revenge is strange like that. Real talk. Does revenge ever actually feel good, or does it just leave you empty? Comment your honest thoughts. I'm curious what you all think about this. My mother visited me in secret one evening. She looked older, tired. She sat on my worn couch and cried. "I should have defended you," she whispered. "At that dinner all those years I should have said something." I listened quietly. Part of me wanted to hug her. Part of me wanted to scream. I did neither. "He taught me everything about power," I said finally. "I just used it differently." We hugged goodbye, both of us knowing the old family was gone for good. There was no going back. No holidays together. No pretending. She chose him, I chose myself. And that was that. As she left, I realized something. Forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation, it means releasing the weight. I didn't need her apology to move forward, I just needed to keep moving, and I was, faster than ever. Have you forgiven someone without reconciling with them? Comment ILESED if you've let go of someone toxic even though it hurt. Healing doesn't always mean going back. 18 weeks later, I got a message from one of his ex-employees. Someone who'd worked closely with him for years. She told me something I wasn't expecting. My father had once dreamed of being a designer too, when he was young, before he built his company. He'd applied to art school, got rejected, tried freelancing, failed, so he pivoted, built a business instead, became successful but buried the dream. She said he kept a sketchbook in his desk drawer. Old, worn, filled with ideas he never pursued. His cruelty wasn't discipline, it was envy. He saw his younger self in me, the version that didn't give up, and he couldn't stand it. That truth hit me harder than anything else. I'd spent years thinking I wasn't enough for him, but the reality, I reminded him of everything he wasn't brave enough to be. Sometimes hurt people hurt people. Drop a broken heart if you've realized someone's cruelty was actually about their pain, not your worth. This realization changes everything. 19 I should have felt triumphant, I had the billboard, the fame, the freedom, the success he said I'd never have, but all I felt was hollow, empty, because deep down, a small part of me still wished things were different. I wished he'd been proud instead of cruel. I wished he'd celebrated me instead of sabotaging me. I wished I had a father who loved me more than he loved his ego. But wishing doesn't change reality. And I'd learned that the hard way, so I focused on what I could control. My work, my platform, my future. I started using my voice for more than just my story. I began speaking up for others, sharing resources, highlighting other creators who'd been dismissed. If I couldn't have the father I wanted, I'd become the support system I needed, and that felt like enough. Who's been your biggest supporter when family wasn't? Comment their name or relationship. Let's celebrate the real family. The chosen one, tag them if they're on here, read. Then he released a public apology. It was posted on his company page, professional, polished, rehearsed. I recognize I made mistakes, I'm committed to learning and growing. It was shallow, generic. The kind of apology a PR team writes in 30 minutes, no real accountability, no mention of me by name, just vague corporate speak designed to save face. People saw through it immediately, comments tore it apart. Too little, too late. This is insulting. Where's the real apology? I didn't respond publicly, not at first. I let him sit in the silence, let him wonder if I'd accept it. Then a week later I posted a video, just me, no script, no edits, speaking from the heart. Forgiveness doesn't mean silence, it doesn't mean pretending it didn't happen. Real apologies require real change, and I haven't seen that. The video went viral instantly. Millions of views, thousands of shares. What makes a real apology? Comment your requirements below. What does someone need to do for you to actually forgive them? Let's set some standards here. People started sharing their own stories in the comments. Sons dismissed by fathers. Daughters told they weren't smart enough. Siblings compared and criticized. My video became a space for collective healing. I read every comment I could, responded when I had the energy. One message stood out. A young girl, maybe 16, wrote, "You made me believe I can do it too, thank you." That message stayed with me because that's when I realized. This was bigger than revenge, bigger than my father. Bigger than me. I'd accidentally created something powerful. A movement, a community. People who'd been told they weren't enough, finding each other, supporting each other, proving the doubters wrong together. So I decided to do something with it, something lasting. I used my platform and my new income to start a fund for young creatives who'd been dismissed by their families. Drop "I believe in you" and tag someone in the comments who's chasing a dream everyone doubted. Let's flood someone's notifications with support today. This is what community looks like. Fund launched quietly. I called it Rise Without Permission. It offered small grants, mentorship, resources, a community for people who needed support their families wouldn't give. Within days, thousands of people applied. Their stories broke my heart and rebuilt it at the same time. Artists, writers, musicians, entrepreneurs, all of them told they'd fail, all of them fighting anyway. I couldn't fund everyone, but I funded as many as I could. And I built a network so they could support each other. The billboard stopped being about revenge. It became a symbol of resilience, of survival, of refusing to shrink. People started taking photos in front of it, posting their own stories with the hashtag. It spread to other cities, other countries. What started as my pain became our power, and that felt like the real victory, not over him. Over the voice that said we weren't enough. Would you apply to a fund like this? Comment what creative dream you'd pursue if money wasn't an issue. Let's dream together. You never know who's reading and can help. Months passed, my life looked completely different. I had a team now, an office space, collaborations with major brands. I was doing work I loved with people who respected me. One afternoon I decided to visit my father. I don't know why. Closure, maybe, curiosity. The building that used to have his company's logo was stripped bare. The sign was gone, the lobby was empty. I found him in a small office, not the penthouse suite he used to have, just a regular office. He looked smaller somehow. Older, quieter. He glanced up when I walked in, didn't smile, didn't apologize again. We just stared at each other for a moment, then I spoke. "I wanted to thank you." His eyebrows raised. "Not for what you did, but for showing me who I never want to be." He didn't respond. I turned and walked out. Have you ever confronted someone who hurt you? Comment yes or no and tell us if it brought you closure. Sometimes we need to hear these stories. Was it worth it? Outside, the city hummed with life. I stood on the sidewalk and looked up. My billboard was still there, glowing against the evening sky. Bold letters, my face, the message that had started everything. They said I'd fail. I said, watch me. People walked past it every day. Some stopped to take pictures, some just smiled. It had become part of the city's landscape, a reminder that the people who try to break you don't get to define you. I pulled out my phone and took one last photo. Not for social media, just for me. A reminder of how far I'd come from that silent dinner table To this, standing tall, unafraid, unapologetic, I didn't look back at the building, I didn't need to, that chapter was over and I was ready to write the next one on my own terms with my own voice. Finally, truly, free, take a photo of yourself right now. Seriously, do it. That's the face of someone who's survived, who's still here, who's fighting. Post it with still standing and comment done below. Let's see those warrior faces. Here's what I learned: success isn't about proving people wrong. It's about proving yourself right. It's about choosing yourself when no one else will, about turning pain into power, wounds into wisdom, silence into a voice that can't be ignored. My father taught me what I didn't want to be, and in a strange way, that was the greatest lesson because it forced me to figure out who I actually was, not his daughter, not his disappointment, just Maya, someone who creates, who fights, who rises. If you're reading this and you've ever been told you're not enough, please hear me. They're wrong. You are enough right now, exactly as you are. Your worth isn't determined by people who can't see it, so start without permission. Create without approval, rise without validation, because the only person who needs to believe in you is you. Thank you for watching this video. Final challenge, this is it, your moment. Comment below, I will rise without permission, and tell us one thing you're going to start today, not tomorrow, today. Let's fill this comment section with declarations. Your future self is watching, make them proud. If this story hit you in the chest, if you felt Maya's pain and celebrated her victory, then do me a favor, hit that like button right now, not later. Now, subscribe if you want more real, raw stories about people who refuse to stay down. And here's the big one. Share this video with someone who's still sitting at that toxic dinner table, someone who needs permission to chase their dream. Send it to them with this message. You don't need their approval, just start. Let's make this the most shared video of the week. Drop a comment telling me whose life you're about to change by sharing this. Tag them, send it, be the sign they've been waiting for. Moral lesson: the people who try to dim your light are often fighting their own darkness. Your success isn't about revenge. It's about reclaiming the power they tried to take from you. Rise not to prove them wrong, but to prove to yourself that you were always enough. And when you do rise, use your voice to lift others. That's when you transform pain into purpose. That's when you win for real.